Hello, hello. This is Swami Prabodhananda from Varanasi, the General Secretary of International Vedanta Society, and it's my pleasure uh, to be live again today and to bring this this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. Uh, Thank you for your for your support and for your viewership. I have received two letters, means two messages. One of one of Hans, and the other of Anna. So we are going to read these two. Uh, we're going to read these two questions. No, not questions. They were like a little bit of inquiry. So Hans asked, uh, "What is the sequence?" Like we yesterday we had discussed about the sequence from the senses, the sense objects to the senses, then the mind, then intellect, and the ego. This is the sequence. So it's like the sense objects. Objects means it's the world. So the world, the senses gets connected with the sense objects. So the connection between us and the world is created by the senses. Okay. Now these senses are controlled by the mind. So and because the mind is connected with the senses, so the mind also is indirectly or directly connected with the sense object or the world. And now this mind is controlled by the intellect. So because the intellect is also attached to the mind, so the intellect through the mind and the senses is connected to the external world. And in case of a unenlightened soul, in case of a person who has not realized who he is, so in his case it's the ego which controls the intellect. And then through this intellect he controls the mind, and through the mind he gets attached to the senses, and thus to this external world. Okay. Now for an enlightened soul, when he's an enlightened soul, then he does not get attached to he doesn't get attached. Why? Because it's not the ego. The mind might get attached to the senses, the intellect might get attached to the senses, but because it is wisdom or knowledge in place of the ego. So there is no ego. This I means knowledge to him. The I means intellect to him, wisdom to him, because it's the knowledge or the wisdom. So he does not get attached to the intellect, because he knows that he is not the intellect. And because he's not attached to the intellect, so the intellect also cannot attach to the mind. And because the intellect is not attached to the mind, so the mind also does not get attached to the senses. And because the senses are not attached to the mind, so the senses also cannot be attached to the sense objects. And in this way he becomes completely like unattached. And it's only just knowing and not knowing. If you know this, then it's very it's the whole story is different. You know the self, the whole story is different. You don't know the self, the story is completely opposite. So this was one question of Hans, and thank you very much. And Anna from Holland, she said that to make a question and answer session, live question and answer session, so that it becomes possible for everybody to interact and to question. So okay, I'm open to this. So whenever you want, you can give me some time. Like we are, last week we had this, how are you, Swami Prabodhananda? So that was one session when we had discussed about a lot of things, with some of our devotees. So if you want, we can have this session, where we can talk about this, where we can talk about this question and answer session. So before that, I think that you should at least write those questions and send it to me, and not only you, if you think that there are others who have doubts, who have questions. So please send those questions to me. Because there might be some question which can be answered by messages, simple messages. So for that, it's not needed that we come and do a session, because I'm also a little bit busy here in Varanasi. I have got a lot of engagement here in Varanasi. So if it is possible, then we can do it through messages. And if you think that we can have this one-to-one conversation in this either in YouTube or in Zoom or wherever, so we can have that. But you need to organize that. Anna, you need to organize that. You need to ask people if they have questions, if they have doubts, and they can come up with those questions, and then I can start with this specific one by one questions, and we can do this session. So thank you very much, and I'm really happy that you people have questions, because without question it is not possible for us to determine whether you are moving forward or not. It is the questions which determines that we are all moving forward. Because if you don't have questions, you're not going to you are not approaching forward. You're not moving towards the self. So you are either stagnant or you're going back. So questions are always welcome. Thank you very much. So now we are going to start this Bhagavad Gita discussion. But before that, one day Anna from Holland, she had requested me about this Saraswati Bandhana. I did not see that Saraswati Bandhana anywhere, because it's there is Saraswati Bandhana, but it's not in that sequence where it was. So at the start of this class, I can sing that Saraswati Vandana for you. You can for you, and let's do this class by singing this Saraswati Vandana and meditating a little bit, and then we can start this class. Okay. So this prayer of Saraswati, Mother Saraswati, goes like this. Hari Om. या कुंदेन्दु तुषार हार धवला, या शुभ्र वस्ताव्रता, या वीरावर दंड मंडित करा, या श्वेत पद्मासना, या ब्रह्माचितु शंकर प्रभृति भी देवै सदा वंदिता, सा मा पातु सरस्वती भगवती, निशेष जाडपः। नमोस्तुते व्यास विशाल भुते, फुलार बृंदायत पत्र नेत्र, येन त्वया भारि तैलपूर्ण, प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमय प्रदीप। व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णुवै, नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। ओम सहना भवतु सहनो भुनक्तु, सह वीर्यं करवावहै, तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति. And now let's meditate, and then we will start this Bhagavad Gita. So, you know, the last verse that we had discussed yesterday, it was, it was like this, that that yada sangrayati chayam kurmanga niva sarvasha indriyani indriyarthebhyas tasya pragya pratishtita. So this is what we had discussed yesterday. We are going to talk about it a little bit more, because this is the basis from where we are going to start, we are going to approach. Okay, so it says that we have seen tortoise, like the tortoise do. They, whenever you attack them or you go close to them, they retreat within their shell. So they retreat within their shell. So it says that the way the tortoise retreat in the shell when it perceives any danger to its life, in the same way, a person who can retreat his senses from the sense objects, the person who can retreat the senses from the sense objects, that person is, is considered to be a person who is wise, whose wisdom is steadfast, is always into that, is always into that knowledge. Now, why it is so important? Why it is so important that, okay, if I disconnect the senses from the sense objects, so there is a time when we do that, and that is when we are sleeping. When we are sleeping, when there is a deep sleep, when there is a dreamless sleep, then we are not aware about the external world. So because we are not aware about the external world, that means that we, our senses have disconnected itself from the sense objects. So is this deep sleep that state where I can consider myself to be, steadfast in knowledge, where I can consider myself to be enlightened? No. A person who is sleeping is not an enlightened person. And when a person comes back from a deep sleep, he also does not carry with him the knowledge of the self. So he's not an enlightened soul. Now, what is the difference? What does it mean? Because we have a state called the sleeping state, where we sleep, and we are disconnected from the sense objects. Our senses are disconnected from the sense objects, and that is why we cannot perceive the sense objects. So if we go literally by the by this verse, then it might presume that going to sleep also means going into becoming enlightened. But it's not like that. You need to do it when you are awake, when you are conscious. So when you are conscious, then only you need to retreat your senses from the sense objects. Now, how will you do it? How will you retreat your senses from the sense objects? Hence, if you're listening, just pay attention. Now I'm going to talk about the sequence. Very interesting. And another thing, you need to practice this also. Always I'm telling you, that is why we just study one or two shlokas. I'm not a professional that I will go on and go on. Not like that. We just talk about one or two verses, and let us practice it. Pay more attention in practicing what you listen. Okay, don't get into this intellectual knowledge gathering, because I see my boys here, some of them, they have this tendency of intellectualizing everything. Don't do this. Just make everything very simple, and try to put into your life. If you can't, there are always questions are always welcome. We are here in whatever capacity we have to help you. Okay, So now the thing is that when I'm awake and I'm trying to get rid of my senses, so I'm trying to get rid of the sense objects. I'm trying to retreat my senses from the sense objects. Now, how can it be possible? It can only be possible if I do, if I control my senses through my mind and bring it inward. I pull it inward, within the mind, so that it gets separated from the sense objects. Now this mind is very, very, this mind always stays in a state of chaos. It's always vibrating like this. It's never calm, it's never quiet. It's always in the state of vibration. So if I go and try to hold the senses because of vibration, of the mind, because of distraction, the mind is also distracted. You try to hold the senses, it goes somewhere else. You think somewhere else. You put somebody into meditation, and then after 5 minutes you ask them, did you meditate? He will say, no, I was thinking about this, I was thinking about that, I was thinking, and he was not aware also that he had just gone away. 5 minutes has passed or 10 minutes has passed, and he's not aware where his mind has gone. So this mind is so fast. So if the mind is not controlled, then the mind cannot cannot control the senses. Now, how to control the mind? To control the mind, you also need a controlled intellect, because it is the intellect which controls the mind. It is the intellect which always holds the mind and directs it into a certain path. So if the intellect is not aware of what the knowledge is all about, if the intellect does not have the perception that it is the knowledge, it is the stillness or the calmness which is the only desirable state, which is not only desirable, which is also preferable. This is the only state which is preferable and desirable, is this, that I remain calm and I make my mind calm. And to make my mind calm, I need to to retreat my senses from the sense objects. So this intellect should always we should also be steadfast in knowledge. Now, how can a intellect be steadfast in knowledge? When this person does not have ego. In place of ego, the person has wisdom. In case of an unenlightened soul, the ego or the false the false I controls the entire system. Intellect, mind, senses, world, everything is controlled by an I which does not exist, a false entity. In case of an unenlightened soul, everything is controlled by an unreal, untrue, false entity. And because it is controlled by a false entity, that is why everything is false. But in case of an enlightened soul, this false entity does not stay. In that place, knowledge stays, wisdom stays. And this person knows that I am this wisdom. I am not that false entity called ego. I am this wisdom. And staying in the wisdom, staying in the knowledge, okay, is being firm in the knowledge, he he controls everything. And that is why everything is controlled. And that is what it is saying here, that when a person is capable of retreating his senses. So when he talks about retreating his senses, is not only talking about retreating the senses, is also talking about retreating the mind, retreating the intellect, and destroying the ego, and replacing that ego ego with knowledge. So when this happens, that is the time when your knowledge is steadfast. Now you need to do it. if you can start from this reverse process, like we know this reverse engineering. There's an engineering and there's this reverse engineering. If I'm not an enlightened soul, if I don't know who I am, I can start from there. I can start from there. I can start from my senses, because I can see my senses. I know what my senses are, and I also know where my senses are attached. I know what my eyes want to see. I know what my ears want to listen. I know what my nose wants to smell. I know what my tongue wants to taste, and I know what my skin wants to touch. So these are the things which where I am attached. So let me get rid of those. Let me get rid of those where I am attached. Okay, and when I get rid of those where I'm attached, then I see that my senses does not get attached anyway to any other things. They're attached to some very specific things. Like if there is like 1,000 things in this world, my senses are attached to one or two things. So just 0.5% or 0.1% of this entire cosmos, the 0.1% of this entire cosmos, that controls me and my destiny. Just think about it. If you think where my eyes, what are the things that I want to see, you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. I need these 5 things. You need this. No, I don't need this. I just need 5 things. What are the things that you want to hear? I want to hear this. And when you say that I need to see these 5 things, you are attached to these 5 things, and you need to get rid of these 5 things. Then only you can transcend your senses. Then only you can get rid of the sense objects and transcend your senses and go beyond and see who you really are. So this is also a very easy process, given that you have that strength to get rid of what you are attached to. That is so if you have the strength, like somebody is very attached to drinking, they cannot think anything other than drinking. So if they have to get rid of that, they need to have a very firm resolution. I need to get rid of this, and that resolution will help them to get rid of that. That hello Raja, namaste Raja, thank you, welcome. So that resolution, that I'm going to get quit smoking, or I'm going to quit drinking, that resolution is going to help him. Okay, so here there's a very firm resolution is needed, and that is why in case of spirituality, the master tells you to have this very firm resolution. Athata brahma jigyasa. This question, this seeking should come from within. When this desire to know the self comes from within, everything becomes possible. You don't have a guru, the guru comes. You don't have this knowledge, the knowledge comes. The only thing that you need to have is this extreme desire. So when you have this desire, then then you have this resolution, and when you have this resolution, you can control your senses. You can retreat your senses from the sense objects. And when you retreat your senses from the sense objects, then you can see that you were never ever attached to anything, that you are the self. That you're the self. Okay, so this is what it says. So it is not only about senses, it is also about disciplining your mind, disciplining your intellect. And because of this, Krishna says the same thing again, in a different form, that so that we don't misunderstand that when he says that the senses should withdraw itself from the sense objects, it is not a literal meaning. It has got an extension. It has got more about it. You need to go into the deep. It has got a deeper meaning, that it's not only about the senses, it's also about the mind, the intellect, and the ego, and going beyond that. Okay, so that is what it says now. Vishaya vinirvartante nirahara sadehina. If you keep yourself starved, now when I say I keep myself starved, means when I keep my senses starved, like my senses starved means I separate my senses from the sense objects. My eyes wants to see this and I close my eyes. No, I will not see it. My ears wants to listen this and I put some cotton in my ears so that I can't listen. So I just block my senses. I block my senses so that the senses does not get connected with the sense objects. If you do that what is going to happen? Your senses will be deprived of the sense objects. Rasa varjam. It's true that you will deprive your senses from the sense objects. It's true. But rasapyasya param drashtva nivartate. But your mind is going to think about those objects, and it will enjoy them. It will enjoy them in the mental level. When you are enjoying things with your senses, you are enjoying that through your physical level. But there is a better one, mental level. So though you have kept your senses starved, though you have kept your senses starved, okay, you are not letting your senses come in contact with the sense objects, but your mind is in contact with those senses. So this endeavor that you have done to get to keep your senses away from the sense objects has actually failed. They fail. You fail because though your senses is not connected with the sense objects, but your mind is. Okay, your mind is. So here it says, if you are an enlightened soul, if you're an enlightened soul, you don't need to starve your senses. You don't need to starve your senses. Why? Because though your senses might be with the sense objects, but because your mind is steadfast in knowledge, because your mind has been replaced by knowledge, overflowed by knowledge, there is no object at all in the mind. Because there is no object at all in the mind, even if your senses comes in contact with the sense objects, they does not create any effect, because the effect is created not in the senses but in the mind. I see this. I like to see this. Where does this liking, create ripples, not in my eyes, but in my mind? So my eyes is just an instrument to, just receive this information and sending it to my mind. And the mind enjoys. If the mind is full of knowledge, who will enjoy these sense objects? Nobody. So even if your senses, sense information after information, see this, see that, look this, look that, hear this, hear that, eat this, eat that, the mind is not at all interested, and the mind does not get attached to that. There's a beautiful story about a saint called Durvasha. There was a saint called Durvasha, Durvasha Muni. He's a great saint. He was very powerful, and he was famous for cursing. People used to be scared of him because he was very like angry saint. Okay, angry rishi. Anything happens and he doesn't like it, and he's going to curse you. So people were always like very 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 scared of him. So one day he was sitting besides the river Yamuna in Brindavan. Okay, Brindavan, Brindavan. So he was sitting besides this river Brindavan, Yamuna in Brindavan. And that day there was flood, like that in monsoon season we have this flooding, Ganga and Yamuna, they're all flooded. So there was flood, and when there's flood, you cannot go to the other side of Yamuna. Now he is sitting there, and then he sees, there are some gopis, that is, the female devotees of Lord Krishna, who came to him. What do you want? We want to go to the other side of Yamuna. Why? Because there is Krishna and we want to meet him. You are a rishi, you are a saint. Please arrange something so that we can cross this river and we can go there. Now it's flooding and there's no way that we can go to the other side. But because you are a rishi, you can do something. So Durvasa Muni said, okay, I'm going to help you, don't worry. But what are you carrying? You have like this, all of them have this, baskets full of stuff. What are you carrying? So the gopis said, we are carrying food for Krishna. He is our Lord. He is, he is our beloved. So we are going to feed him and we are going to, they do. Durvasa Muni said, okay, I will help you to go to that bank, to the other side. But you have to feed me all this, what you are taking for Krishna. I am going to eat all these things. You have to give me this, I am going to feed them, and then I will arrange, you are going to that side. So the gopis thought that it's better that he, okay, we want to go that side. We want to see him. So even if he takes food, it's all right, but at least we can go and see him. So the gopis gave everything that they had to Rishi, Durvasa. And Durvasa, sitting in the bank of river Yamuna, he ate everything that the gopis gave him. And after eating, he prayed to Mother Yamuna. Oh Mother Yamuna, if I have not eaten anything, make way for these gopis to go to the other side of Yamuna. And the moment he prayed this, that oh Mother Yamuna, if I have not eaten anything, at that moment instantly Yamuna became like divided into two parts, and in between there was a road, and these gopis went walking to the other side of river Yamuna. Now, how it is possible? We all have seen Rishi Durvasa eating everything that the gopis had brought. Now, if he has eaten everything that the gopis has brought, then how does he say that I have not eaten? Who is this I? This I is the ego. The ego is not there. The person who has eaten is the self. And the self never eats. The self never eats. The self never works. It doesn't do anything. Naiva kinchit karomiti yukta asita tattva vid. A person who has known the truth, who has known the self, does not do anything. Why? Because he is always attached to the self, and the self is fulfilled. So when the self is fulfilled, how will he work? People work to attain fulfillment. He's already fulfilled. So why will he act? Why will he work? So he did not work. Okay, so this is the thing. If when in case of an enlightened soul, though he is in everything, still he is not attached to anything. But an unenlightened soul, if he is not in anything, then also he is attached. Okay, so that is what it says, that it's not easy. Unattachment is not so easy. You may think that just it's not a physical physical unattachment. Unattachment does not mean physical unattachment. It also means, it actually means mental unattachment. You should not be, you should not be, uh, you should not be attached mentally. Okay, so that is what it says, that vishaya vinirvartante niraharasya dehina. Even if even if you starve your senses from the sense objects, rasavarjam, that is, you're starving them from the juice of sense objects, rasapyasya, then also, though, if he's an enlightened soul, though he is within the juice of this world, if his hands are dipped in the juice of this world, then also he is always unattached. He does not touch anything. Okay, so this is the state of a enlightened soul. Now, try to do this. Try to become unattached from the mind. Always be aware where you are getting attached. Look at yourself. See the things you like. Look at this world. Look at, open your eyes and just move around and see what are the things that you like. The things that you like are the things where you are attached. Get rid of them. Not from your physical level. You may again see them. You may have to continuously see them, but you should not be attached from within. Try to remove this attachment. How to remove this attachment? If you are aware that you are attached, then the attachment goes. Okay, if you are aware, wow, I am attached to this. Okay, you need to first of all, recognize. Most problem is that, when a person is in the path of spirituality, he does not recognize that he has anything wrong in him. He thinks that he's like a god. First of all, you need to recognize, yes, I have problems. I have shortfalls. I have shortcomings. I need to improve. I need to get rid of many things. So when you are in this state of mind, then there is a space for improvement. And if you're like, wow, I'm fulfilled, my guru said this, I'm this, I'm that, you are doing the greatest injustice to yourself. You are doing the greatest, you are just living in a fool's paradise. Within some time you will see that you have landed up frustrated. So never praise yourself. Always try to see, where is the area of improvement. Where can you improve? Where are the things where, when we ask people about IVS, about International Vedanta Society, the first thing that we ask is, what are the things that you didn't like? This is the first question, and this is the only question. I'm not concerned about what he likes or not, what he likes. What he likes, but what are the things that he does not like? That is the place where we need to improve. So always, don't get annoyed if somebody criticizes you. Don't get annoyed if you don't like people, if you don't like things. If see why you don't like, receive them. Okay, so you need to unattach yourself from the mental level, and that is the only way to attain enlightenment. Okay, so that is what it says. Rasavajjam rasapyasya param drashtva nivartate. Though you are separate from everything, though this person, enlightened soul, he is in everything, then also he doesn't touch anything. Okay, then it says yadato hapi konteya purushascha vipaschita indriyani pramathini haranti prasavang. Oh, sorry, somebody told me, Swamiji, please speak the verses slowly. Yes, sorry. Actually, you know what? that these words are of Lord Krishna. It's so beautiful, It's like a poem. It's a poetry. So when we speak, it's like a flow. It comes out, but still, it says. So it's the 60th verse of chapter 2, verse number 60. Yatato hapi konteya purushascha vipaschita indriyani pramathini haranti prasavang mana. It says, you know what? You know what? You don't think that the senses are very don't think that your mind and the senses are so, so are the so loyal. Don't think them. Don't take them lightly. Because you have realized the self, then also don't take them lightly. And if you have not realized the self, then don't think about it. These senses and this mind is a really crooked thing. If it is not in your control, it is your greatest enemy. If your mind is in your control, it's your greatest friend. Not only your friend, it becomes your guru. It becomes your guru. It guides you. It guides you towards the self. But if that mind is not under your control, then it misguides you. It becomes your greatest enemy. Same with the senses. So don't think that don't take them lightly. Oh, my mind, you don't know something. I have control my mind. Don't have this. This in your mind is not in your control. Always believe this. The moment it will have a little bit of space, it will just run away. You give him a space to relax, it's nowhere. It's gone. Okay? So this is very, very difficult. And that is why, there was a saint in India called Raja Janak, King Janak. He was one of the very big saints of India. He said that kill your mind by dipping it again and again into the ocean of knowledge. Kill it. You don't kill your mind, it's going to kill you. And that is what it does. Everybody is killed. Everybody gets killed. After some time, everybody is like, oh, our life is so horrible. Our life is why your life is horrible. You have worked in your life. You have done so many things in your life. You have achieved so many things in your life. Why has your life become horrible? It has become horrible because your mind is not in your control, and because it's not in your control, it keeps you, it makes you run and run. After some time, your your body cannot run. Your friends are gone. Your comfort zone has just been taken away. There's no comfort. The comfort that you used to enjoy is gone. Your friends are gone. Everything has gone. Now what? Now you're left with this uncontrollable mind. Anarchy, anarchy. It's not a mind, it's total anarchy. And that is why the life becomes horrible. But if your mind becomes, control, if you can control your mind slowly, every day, then your life becomes a paradise. Okay? So, yadato api konteya purushascha vipaschita indriyani pramathini haranti prasabhang mana. Well, don't think that this mind and this mind and the here it primarily talks about the senses. So when it talks about the senses, it also talks about the mind. So don't think that the senses are so easy. Don't think they are really strong. They're really strong. And do you know what they do? Do you know what they do? They can misguide even a wise man. I'm a wise man. We say we are wise men. We, even if you're a wise man, you're going to get misguided. Don't think, don't be assured that you will be saved. Don't be assured. If you're even if you're a wise man, your mind and your senses are more powerful. So you need to be very careful. This mind and the senses are so powerful that it can also misguide, deviate even a wise man. So what about these unwise people? They just kill them, like worms. The unwise, they get killed. They're killed, crushed. People are crushed. Just see this world. See look around, look into the lives of the people. They're all crushed by this destiny. And we say, this our destiny. It's not destiny, it's your own senses, it's your own mind. You are not crushed by your destiny or somebody else, your neighbor or your colleague. No. You are cursed, crushed, not cursed, cursed, cursed by your own mind, okay, and your senses. So what to do? Krishna gives a solution, because the mind is really very difficult to control. And the senses, by saying about senses, he also means the mind. So what to do now? So he gives a solution. What is the solution? Tani sarvani sanyamya yukta asita matpara. Try to control it. By connecting with me, by connecting with the self. Now, how to connect with the self? How to connect with the self? Here is a technical point. How can I connect with the self without knowing what the self is, and without having a serene mind? Having this very chaotic mind, having this very uncontrollable mind, a mad mind, without wisdom, how can I control it? Here it gives a small word called matpara. By working for me, by being mine, by working for me, by knowing that I am the reality and the supreme. Now, this person can be your guru. This person can be your Lord. This person can be your family. This person can be anybody for whom you are going to work selflessly, without having simplest amount of interest. So if you're in a family, Swamiji, I need to maintain my family. I have a family. I don't have time for spirituality. I don't have time for meditation. My meditation is my family. If your family is your meditation, then by looking after your family, you will become an enlightened soul. Did you become an enlightened soul? No. You never will become an enlightened soul. You will become frustrated. After some time, you will say, I have done I have done so much for my family, and see, look at them. They don't, they're all disloyal, betrayed. They are all betrayers. This is what you are going to say. So this is not what you really meant. You are working for your family because you have some kind of interest. In return, they also serve you, and that is why you serve them. They also serve your interest, and that is why you serve them. That is not serving them. So here it says you need to control your mind, control your sense. Tani sarvani sanyamya. Everything should be under your control. Everything means your intellect, your mind, your ego, and your senses. All these four, they should be, in your in this fold. Okay, so how by being connected with me. How can I make them, how can I control them? By becoming connected with him, or he, or it, or somebody, God or somebody. So by being connected with the wisdom or truth or self consciousness, knowledge. Now, what is the way? Mat para. Mat para. That is, whatever you do it for him, not for this, not for that, not for yourself. There's a song, no? Everything I do it for you. There's a song. Just make this song practical in your life. Everything you do it for him. He is God. He is the self, or he is your guru. And if there is no God, if there's no self, if there's no no guru, if you like your family, if you like your wife, if you like your husband, if you like anybody, your children, any cause for which you are living, just do it for them without any, without asking anything in return. Not even any mental support, not even any mental stuff. I don't want anything from them. Just I want them to respect me. Don't even claim this respect. Swamiji, I don't want anything from them. They should love me. They should at least smile at me. No, they might not smile at you. They might not love you. They might not respect you. Your work is to love them, respect them, smile at them, and to do everything for them. That's it. Why? Because you need to get, this connected with the divine. They don't have this aspiration to get connected with the divine. You have this aspiration to get connected with the divine, and that is why you need to smile at them. You need to talk to them politely. You need to love them. You need to work for them selflessly. Okay, so this is the thing. Tani sarvani sanyamya yukta asita matpara. If you really want to have this, this everything under your control, if you really want your senses, your mind, your intellect, your ego, everything, under your control, then be connected with him by being his. By being his. Yukta asita matpara. Vasehi yassa indriyani tasya pragya pratishtita. Vasehi yassa indriyani. Vasehi yassa indriyani tasya pragya pratishtitaha. Okay? Tani sarvani sangyamya yukta asita matpara. Vasehi yassa indriyani tasya pragya pratishtitaha. The person whose intellect, whose mind, whose here it's only talking about indriyani. It's only talking about senses, but it's not senses. When you say senses, you have to have this whole clan. Sense, mind, intellect, everything. Everything should be. If your senses are under your control, and if your mind is not in your control, then the senses also will never remain in your control. So if you really want your senses to have, if you really want to have control over your senses, you should have control over your mind, your intellect, and your ego. So when it says vasehi yassa indriyani, when it says the person whose senses are in control, so it's not only senses, it says the person whose senses, mind, intellect, and ego is in control. Tasya pragya pratishtita. That person is, is established in knowledge. Okay, so you can try this one. You can try this one. Tani sarvani sanyamya yukta asita matpara. To control everything, you need to connect with him. How? By being his, just being his. Swamiji, I want somebody to love him. Somebody should love me. That person loves you. He's you. He's within you. So he is the, he is the one who loves you, the most. Love him back. Why are you searching love outside? What will you get? Nothing. Nothing. There is no love outside. You will not get love. Okay? So if you really want love, it's there inside. Just love him. He's the one who loves you. Love him and he will love back. He does love you, but you can feel it. Why? Because you don't love him. The moment you start loving him, then you will see that he's loving you back. And then there will be this love story about you and yourself. And in this love story, the winner will be you, because everything will be under your control. Okay, so practice this. So today we are going to stop here, because we are not going to give you bigger classes, like long classes, because it's true that if we give if we talk more about more stuff, if we stuff more, it becomes very difficult to. So two verses is okay. 2 verses is okay. Thank you very much. So if you have any question, you can ask now, or we can meditate for some time, and then that's it. Now it's 9:50, 30. So that's it. Thank you, Isolanda. Actually, Isolanda, I was thinking about, we have this form for people who have received initiation, So I'm going to send you that form. Just fill up this form for you and Gerardo and send it back to me, okay? Because, now we are filling up some form who have, people who have got initiation from Varanasi. So I'm going to send you that form, and please, return that form by filling it. Thank you very much. Thank you, Anna. Oh, we are going to have one session of this this question and answers. Thank you, Shivani. Thank you, David. So we stop here today, okay? So tomorrow on Tuesday we are again going to meet, and in between we are thinking of doing some Spanish classes also live, and I don't know how to do it, but we are trying to work it with Aditi so that we can bring this Spanish class. Like I speak in English and then she translates it in Spanish. So we're going to make it. Thank you, Vagus. Thank you, Vagus. Vagus is doing a great job. He is doing really a great job. He's like holding the whole group together, and he's doing a very, very good job. God bless you, Vagus. So, if you are interested in this, translating it into Portuguese or Malayali language or this Indonesian language, we can start to think about it. It's like, the way we do it with Aditi. Like we, I talk and then Aditi explains it. I think this is a good way of bringing this knowledge, to the local in local languages. Like if you put subtitles, that I think this one is better what we are doing with Aditi. So if you can talk with Aditi and see, how and find out this way how we, either we can record it and put it in YouTube, or we can search some way by which we can have this direct interaction between me. I talk and then Aditi translates it in Spanish, uh, or somebody does it in Portuguese or in other language. So in this way we can bring this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita into many languages, and people will be more and more interested. So let's talk about it. Let's have this discussion. So till now, thank you very much. See you on Tuesday. God bless you.